Amongst all these figurine injected molded kits, I would rate Masterbox as one of the best. Hello, this is BJ from Hearns Hobbies, and today I'll be looking at a little kit here, which is really nice. This is a Masterbox 1/35 scale kit, which is part of the American West range. So this particular one, it's quite clever. It's the Outlaw Gunslinger series. So there's the second one out of that particular series. And this is Gentleman Jim Jameson. He's a hired gun. So what do you call him these days? Mercenary? I guess he's I don't know, Robin Hood type, good guy. Use a bit of muscle, do good for the poor people of the frontier. So Masterbox always have very nice artwork. It's a very thin box. It's only one figure. So this particular mounted figure is unusual that it's a single, but I think it's a good idea that it's a single. Sometimes they have two figures and they have a semi-interaction with the pose. This works very well because it's very much I guess it's like a photographic portrait type pose. You can have him in a single diorama, works very well. All right, so that's the front, very nice artwork. And then on the back, you'll see this is the instructions. So there's no included instruction manual inside, simply because it's a very basic kit. You have it all on the back here. So you've got your paint diagram and such. So let me just bring it over this way so you can have a better look. So here we've got our box art, very impressive. All mounted on the horse. And then over here, just hold it up like this. You can see you've got the CG images here, which help you locate all the components. And then here you have the map of the parts. So you've got your A sprue, which is a figurine. B sprue here, which is the horse and all the other accessories. And then over here you've got the individual part numbers from which sprue, and it shows you exactly where it goes, so you can work it out from there. Over here we have codes for Vallejo, Life Color, Mist Color, and Tamiya type paints. Whoops, there we go there. All right, so let's just pop it over here and we'll have a closer look at the parts. So I'll start off with the figurine. Okay, so you've got one sprue here, all for the one figurine. Let's see if I can bring it up closer. Let's move this out of the way now. All right, see how close I can get this to focus. Let's see, is that about focus? I can't really tell. I think that's about it, isn't it? Hopefully that gives you a better idea. Okay, so you've got the legs here. So legs there, you've got holster there with the pistol. Torso, you can see how part of his jacket is just hanging around the back. You get the arms here, head, and then two sections for the hat. Now the great thing about these particular figures, let's see on the back too, is the amount of detail they've been able to put into a injection molded figurine. Now in the past you need to really get resin figurines if you want crisp details, simply because the technology in making really sharp molds with being able to get accurate folds wasn't quite there, but Masterbox has really perfected this. And the crispness of the details, I mean particularly around the hands, the individual fingers, and then you get into the folds of the clothing, and then the facial features are incredibly crisp as well. So for the price, you can't really go wrong with these particular kits, because these kits are basically a third the price, or even cheaper than a resin equivalent. So the other part too is all their figures now are designed in CAD, and they've been optimized in the parts so that when you put them together, they show off as many details as possible. So hence how you've got the edge of the jacket here, and then the legs just fit within here. So it acts as a locating, and also it gives it a much more realistic flow when it's all glued together. So the trick with these particular figurines, I guess, is they use a traditional mold. Okay, so there's a top part. Okay, so you've got a top part on this side and a bottom part on this side. You're always going to have a very thin seam line. That's going to be where the molds join. But being able to cut very clean molds, you may be able to notice that the seam lines are quite minimal. So obviously where you cut it off here, you're going to have to trim off that bit of the nub, and then across here as well. But since it's as clean as possible, there's not a lot of sanding or scraping you need to do, which helps because if you have to scrape off all those details, it's pretty pointless getting the sort of figure. So other ideas such as here where you see it's on the head, the nub is actually on the top of the head, so when it's cut off, it's easy to sand down flat, and then you won't affect any of those other details. Occasionally you'll have no choice, like these parts here which are into folds, so when you cut those you just need to do slight re-sculpting, but it's generally pretty simple to do on things like that. Okay, so that's a figurine itself. So let's look at the other sprue. Let's put that here. Now this is the horse. Actually, that's obscuring a bit. Let's move him over there. All right, so you get your horse sprue here. So similar idea, but you've got halves here for the body of the horse. You've got single sections here for the neck. So what you have is you've got a neck and a head here. So this is a horse in the head upright position, and then there's an optional neck and head here for head down position. So you can either have it leaning forward downwards or upright and alert. Now the head itself is in one mold, so that's the bulk of the head, but what they've done is the ears have been molded separately and in a different orientation. So this allows the ears to have perfect details molded front and back, so that when it's all glued together, and it's quite cleverly spaced so that when you're glued you can't see the join line because that's where the harness is. And then that's all glued up to the neck. And then the neck itself is also split to where the harness is here too, reducing the join lines. So we've got some of the, I guess the packs, the folded packs which go onto the horse. And then you have the stirrups here. Stirrups are very nice, very fine. Usually you'd need to make these yourself out of maybe some paper or some white metal sheet. But these are molded in plastic, quite strong, reasonably thin to look scale. And then over here you've got the rifle in its holder. What do you call these? These are the bits that go into the horse's mouth. And then you have the tail here, and then you've got the saddle there as well. So the only thing that haven't been able to mold here are the reins. And the reins would be quite easy to do just by cutting up some very, very thin paper or masking tape, and then just applying those. So using a softer material, it's very difficult to make reins out of plastic because it'll be too stiff. You get a softer material like paper, and then you'll be able to make them droop and hang, and then you can have those attached to the rider's hands as well. So that's that side of the horse, and that's the inside. So you notice that the body itself is all hollowed out. That saves on material, and then also keeps it all lightweight. And then basically your gluing section is just across here. So the hollowing also alleviates the possibility of warping, because what happens, you may not notice that with larger plastic pieces, because it's going in as a molten plastic, as it comes out of the mold, it'll shrink a little bit, and with the shrinkage, it'll warp. And with solid pieces, because you've got a thick piece and a thin piece, they cool at different rates, and so you get warp happening. So making these all reasonably even, there's the best chance of them setting in the correct position, so that when you glue them together, you're not going to have massive gaps. And the fit on these are really very nice. Now, Masterbox is a company that's from the Ukraine. They've been in the game for a very long time, and like most companies, they've really advanced their skills. So they're very specialized in figurines. They make quite a variety of them in various genres. So you've got different soldiers from various world wars, you've got modern figurines, and then you've got also science fiction type and steampunk, diesel punk type ones as well, just to make it more interesting. So these are 35th scale ones. They also do quite a variety of 24 scale ones, which are nice to go with cars. And hopefully from here you'll be able to see why they're so good and why you should consider them, because amongst all these figurine injected molded kits, I would rate Masterbox as one of the best. So here we go there, there's a closer up there. Okay, so there's my quick unboxing of the Masterbox Gentleman Jim Jameson in 1/35th scale. Very nice kit. They always have very interesting poses. This particular one is one of my favorites, I think. Really interesting, particularly the way that he's sitting and slouched with his particular expression on his face. So that's Masterbox. So if you're interested in more videos, please consider subscribing. Hope you've enjoyed this unboxing.